You know that feeling when you're singing in the shower and you sound amazing, but then you try the same thing in your living room and it just falls flat? Or how a giant cathedral can feel so peaceful, but a crowded cafeteria is just chaos? Well, that's not just in your head, it's physics. Every single room has its own unique voice, and today we're going to learn how to hear it.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the basics of what sound actually is, then we'll break it down into its 3 key ingredients. From there, we'll get into what happens when sound starts bouncing around a room, which is where it gets really fun. Then, we'll peek into the secrets architects use to control it, and finally, look at how to fix a room that just doesn't sound right.
Okay, let's jump right in. We are constantly surrounded by this invisible architecture of sound. But why does the exact same sound, your voice, a clap, a song, change so dramatically just by walking from one room to another?
Yeah, that age-old question, right? Why do we all secretly think we're Grammy winners in the shower? Well, it all comes down to the science of acoustics. That's really just a fancy word for the physics of how sound is made, how it travels, and how our ears pick it up. Your shower, with all those hard, shiny, waterproof tiles, is basically a personal, miniature concert hall.
So when we hear things, our brain pretty much sorts them into 2 big categories. On one hand, you've got musical sound. Think of a note from a flute. It's made of these regular, repeating vibrations. See how smooth and predictable that wave is? That's what our ears love. But then, you've got noise. It's just chaos, a total jumble of irregular, messy vibrations. The whole point of good room design is to boost the good vibrations and calm down the noise.
So, no matter what you're hearing, music, noise, whatever, your brain is breaking it down using 3 key ingredients. And if you get these, you get acoustics. Let's dig in.
First up, we've got pitch. Super simple. It's just how high or low a sound is. It's all about frequency, how fast the sound wave is vibrating. A big booming bass drum, that's a low frequency, a low pitch. A tiny little whistle, super high frequency, high pitch. Easy enough, right?
Okay, next up is loudness. And this one's a little tricky, because it's not just about raw power or intensity. It's about what we perceive. I mean, think about a dog whistle. It's blasting out sound waves, but to us, silence. Our ears just aren't built to hear that super high frequency, so we don't perceive it as loud at all.
And speaking of our ears, the range of what we can hear is, honestly, it's mind-blowing. It's so huge that we had to invent a special scale, the decibel scale, or dB, just to talk about it. So a quiet library might be, 30 decibels? But a rock concert can easily hit 120 dB, which is literally the point where it starts to hurt. But here's the wild part. That 120 dB sound isn't just a few times more powerful. It's 1 trillion times more intense than the quietest sound we can possibly hear. 1 trillion! It's just incredible. And last but not least, we have timbre. You can think of it as the color or the texture of a sound. It's the secret sauce. It's the reason why a violin and a flute can play the exact same note at the exact same loudness, and you still know instantly which is which. It's all about those extra little vibrations, called harmonics, that give each sound its own unique fingerprint.
All right, so we've got our 3 building blocks, pitch, loudness, and timbre. But here's where the magic of room acoustics really happens. Sound doesn't just travel in a straight line from a source to your ear. Oh no. It's like a pinball. It bounces off everything. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, you name it.
And that lingering sound, that hang time after the original clap or note is gone, that's called reverberation. It's all those bounces hitting your ear one after another, so fast they blur together. That is the secret to your shower concerts. It's the room's unique acoustic signature. Okay, but wait, is reverberation the same thing as an echo, like you'd hear shouting in a canyon? Not quite, and it all boils down to timing. See, your brain kind of holds on to a sound for about 1/10 of a second. If a reflection gets back to you faster than that, like in a small bathroom, your brain just smooshes it all together into one big, rich sound. That's reverberation. But if it takes longer, bang, your brain hears it as a totally separate event. And that is an echo.
So you can't build a concert hall on guesswork, right? Architects need a number. They need to measure this stuff. And that's where something called reverberation time, or RT, comes in. Now, the technical definition talks about dropping 60 decibels, but here's the easy way to think about it. Walk into a room, clap your hands as loud as you can, and time how long it takes for the sound to completely disappear into silence. That's its reverberation time.
All right, so we get the science. We know that sound bounces around and creates reverberation. Now let's get practical. How do architects take this knowledge and actually build rooms that sound good on purpose?
Well, for that we have to thank this guy, Wallace Clement Sabine. He's basically the father of modern architectural acoustics. Around the turn of the 20th century, he figured out something that sounds really simple but changed everything. He realized that a room's sound is just a big tug of war between two things: the size of the room and how much soft, sound-soaking stuff is inside it. And he turned that idea into this elegant little formula. Now, don't panic, it's not a scary math test. It's actually super intuitive. T is the reverberation time. That's the sound quality we're aiming for. It equals V, the room's volume or size, divided by A, the total amount of absorption in the room. So, a bigger room means a longer reverb time. More stuff like carpets and curtains means a shorter reverb time. It's all just a balancing act.
And how do we measure A, the absorption? With something called the absorption coefficient. Every material gets a score from 0 to 1. A polished concrete wall? Basically a 0. It's like a mirror for sound. A big, thick velvet curtain? Maybe a 0.7. And a perfect one? An open window, because the sound just flies right out and never comes back. Perfect absorption.
And once you understand all this, you can start spotting the classic acoustic problems everywhere. You've got rooms where everything sounds muddy and garbled. That's too much reverberation. You get distracting echoes. Some curved ceilings can create weird hotspots of sound called focusing. And then there's this really weird one, the echelon effect. You know that strange musical zip or flutter you can get from a flight of stairs? That's a real acoustic phenomenon.
Okay, so we've seen the science and we know the problems. Now for the fun part. How do we actually fix them? Let's look at the architect's playbook for sound.
And here it is. It's pretty straightforward, really. Got echoes from a big curved wall? Don't use a smooth curve. Use uneven or decorative surfaces to break up and scatter the sound waves. Got that weird flutter from the stairs? Simple. Cover them with carpet. Annoying rattle from a window pane? Dampen it with heavier glass or make sure it's secure. And for the big one, a room that's just too live and echoey, you just add absorption. Acoustic tiles, curtains, and yep, even people.
I'm not kidding. A concert hall is actually designed with the audience in mind. You are literally part of the acoustic design. Our bodies and our clothes, we're fantastic at soaking up sound energy. An empty hall can sound like a cavern, but when it's full of people, it can sound absolutely perfect. That is not an accident, it's by design.
So here's my challenge to you. The next time you walk into any space, your office, a restaurant, a quiet library, just stop for a second and listen. Really listen. Is the sound clear? Is it muddy? Is it loud? You know the rules now. You can start to hear the invisible architecture at work all around you. So, what are you going to hear differently today?